Ugh, ads are such poop. Subscribe to Acast Plus now to skip ads and more for just $1 a month. Click the link in our show notes to learn how. And hey, we're on Patreon too. Your support helps cover the cost of running a podcast. For $2 a month, you can get early access to all our episodes ad-free, plus bonus episodes exclusive to Patreon subscribers only. Visit patreon.com/sacrilegious discourse to sign up now.
Strike!
Tell me something I don't know, Ump.
Well, unlike that nasty curveball, there aren't any surprises when you finance your next car with Carvana. You get real terms personalized for you right in your strike zone.
Really?
Steer-right!
How am I supposed to focus when you're telling me about Carvana?
Well, Slugger, you gotta keep your eye on the ball. Just like you can keep an eye on your customized down and monthly car payments.
I can customize those?
He's out and on his way to finance his next car with Carvana.
Visit Carvana.com or download the app to get pre-qualified today. We'll drive you happy at Carvana.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
The program is neither good nor bad. It's like a hammer. You can use it to build a house or break a skull.
Welcome to The Program, a sci-fi anthology set in a world in which money, state, and God became fused into a single entity called The Program.
Perhaps AI overtook us just like global warming did, with people bickering is it real or not right up until the water finally rose above their mouths.
Visit programaudioseries.com or find it wherever you get your podcasts.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.
Welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
I'm husband.
And I'm wife.
Together, we're reading the Bible for the very first time.
We grew up without religion and wanted to know what all the fuss was about.
Well, what have we learned so far?
That God is a dick, and apparently some people believe in talking donkeys?
We're not trying to pass ourselves off as experts.
Nope, we're just reading the Bible for the first time and giving our first take reaction.
If you'd like to join us in this venture, you might consider starting at episode 1.
Otherwise, jump in wherever you like.
All right, let's go read the Bible.
Yeah, let's get to it. Husband!
Wife!
Do you remember what happened yesterday?
Job was talking about how God should do things, and
he wanted to
wants
talk
to talk to God.
Yeah,
right.
He wants to plead his case. He wants to be like, yo, I know if you just hear me out,
right,
then we can come to an understanding.
Yeah.
Because you know everything, God, and you're smart and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's like, I know I'm right, so just hear me out.
Yeah. Which is
smart. I mean,
funny. It's funny in and of itself because it's like you're saying, you know everything, and I also know this thing. So if we talk, then you'll know this thing too, even though you should already know it because you know everything.
Right. Basically, something's fucked.
Yeah.
Get your ass down here.
So I think that he's disguising, I want answers and I want them now as, you're awesome, and I have nothing to add to your awesomeness, but...
Except that I know I can prove I'm wrong, or you're wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm innocent and shit.
Yeah.
So, what the fuck, man?
It's almost like he's like, talk to me or you're a coward.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
All right, so that was Job chapter 23.
It sure as fuck was.
And today we're going to be reading...
Job chapter 24.
All right, let's go do this.
Okie dokie.
Before we get into this episode, I do want to cover something real quick I meant to cover in the intro here.
Is this like a housekeeping kind of thing?
Sort of, yeah. I haven't really asked for this for a while, but we also haven't had anybody rate us and review us in a while, so I'm going to ask again. See if you guys are out there listening and haven't rated and reviewed us. The big two where it really makes a difference for us would be Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I know for sure that both of those have places to rate and review us, and most of our exponential growth for our podcast has actually come through Spotify, interestingly enough. But so yeah, if you have some time, go rate and review us, and it helps us out more than you could imagine.
I mean, there's an algorithm, so I guess you probably can imagine.
Well, yeah, you might be able to imagine.
So, I mean, we all know the algorithm.
It definitely fucking helps.
God bless the algorithm.
And we'll, yay fans. That would be awesome.
Yes, go worship the algorithm. Please.
That being said, let's go ahead and start Job chapter 24 now.
Oh, okay. More God stuff.
More God stuff.
Okay. So normally the chapters in this particular book have been starting with the word then.
Yeah, we're skipping that this time?
We're not starting with
Holy
that.
shit.
We're starting with an interrogative.
Oh, okay.
Why?
Why?
That sounds about like that tracks. That's what it should be.
Right.
Why?
Yeah, that could pretty much sum up the whole book of the Bible.
It really could. It could sum up all the books of the Bible in my perspective.
Right, yeah.
Why does the Almighty not set times for judgment? Like a court date, you know what I mean? Why does he not set court dates?
Probably because he doesn't show himself to people.
Or give a shit. Or exist.
Right, those two.
Yeah. Why must those who know him look in vain for such days? Why?
Because, again, we just covered this.
You don't really know him.
Right, yeah. Yeah, you think you know him, but you've never actually talked to him or met him.
You know him the way you know an alligator, except an alligator knows you better because it exists. You know him the way you know a mermaid. You know him the way you know a unicorn.
Right.
You know him the way you know a dragon or an elf.
Sure, yeah.
You don't know him, though.
At all.
Don't.
Not even a little.
Yeah. Maybe as a cloud. Something.
Maybe.
Something that isn't really real, except in like this very ethereal, doesn't do anything kind of way.
Sure.
And I'm giving you grace there.
Right.
By offering that up. At best.
But there are people that really think that they're talking to God.
And
that's like a legitimate thing. They think they're talking to God.
Right. And I get that. But what I don't get is when they say, and he talks back. That's the scary part to me.
Right.
Are you hearing, what do you mean by that? Are you hearing voices? Or is it your subconscious?
It's like an imaginary friend for adults,
I don't approve.
And if you take it too far, obviously,
you take it too far and we end up in an anti-abortion country.
Right. There is that, yes.
Or trans youth that are being offered
targeted
up
for crimes and everything else.
Yeah. So let's not, guys.
Yeah, let's not.
Okay, so why? There are those who move boundary stones. They pasture flocks they have stolen. They drive away the orphan's donkey and take the widow's ox in pledge.
So bad people still. We're going over
bad people.
Okay.
They thrust the needy from the path.
That's rude.
Force all the poor of the land into hiding. They're supposed to feed the poor.
Yeah.
That's what they're supposed to do.
Right. But these are bad people.
Oh, yeah.
So.
But, yeah.
And this is what we're going over. Why aren't these people punished? And
why do bad people flourish?
Very fucking legitimate question.
If you're going to talk about God. Yeah. Like wild donkeys in the desert.
Yeah.
I
know all about those wild donkeys in the desert.
Like wild donkeys in the desert. Wait,
hold on a second. Don't donkeys have to be bred by humans?
I think they do, actually.
So they aren't wild. They're domesticated but set free.
Right.
Because they can't even reproduce
or
amongst themselves.
Or are we talking about, maybe it's not donkeys. Maybe it's mules.
Maybe it's just maybe the word's wrong in the Bible. But oh, wait.
No, it's mules, isn't it?
I see. Okay, it's mules. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're thinking
mules are the ones that have to be bred. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because they're the ones that are non-viable, right?
Yeah, I think that's correct.
Okay.
I could be wrong. I didn't know. I spoke too soon there.
Donkeys and mules, they're easily confused.
Right? Yeah.
Ponies and horses and donkeys and
giant
mules.
fucking weird-headed animals.
That look like aliens. They all have triangle heads. They look like praying mantises with bones. with like high bone structure.
Right.
They all have triangle heads, which makes them alien.
Yeah. You don't like them.
I think that they are way too fucking smart and pointy-faced for their own good.
Right. Plus, if you're feeding them an apple, they can take your whole fucking hand off.
They can. And I have known people who have had the tip of their finger taken off.
Right, yeah.
And that's not okay.
No.
And yes, I know horses are lovely. Horses are nice. I don't wish them harm. But I do think that they know more than they're telling us.
Probably, yeah.
And I don't approve of it.
Yeah.
Honestly.
It's definitely a big conspiracy theory.
I'm not saying that they're like a covert operation of aliens in the government or something.
It's not like a horse cabal or something.
It's just that if you look at them, even the nice ones, right? They're the ones with kind eyes, right?
Yeah.
If you look at them, they just look like there's a lot going on in there. And I don't approve of it.
Okay.
I don't think...
I mean, you don't have to approve of it.
You know, I don't like alligators and crocodiles either.
Right, but they're a little bit more vicious than
they look
than a
evil.
Horse.
Those things look evil. Yeah. Horses don't look evil. They just look too smart for their own good.
Got it.
Okay?
Yeah.
Kind of like dolphins. Dolphins, I don't disapprove of, but I do think they are more intelligent and I think they're kindly intelligent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
I think if they had thumbs, we'd all be in trouble.
Right, probably.
Don't give thumbs to dolphins.
Right.
We don't need no fucking polydactyl dolphins. Okay? So anyway, like wild donkeys in the desert, the poor go about their labor of foraging food. The wasteland provides food for their children. They gather fodder in the fields and glean in the vineyards of the wicked. Lacking clothes, oh, now the poor are naked. Ooh, sorry.
These poor people got it rough.
Yeah, that's not cool, guys.
No, that's not cool.
Lacking clothes, they spend the night naked. They have nothing to cover themselves in the cold. They are drenched by mountain rains and hug the rocks for lack of shelter. Well, you know, they should have been born to better families. That's their own faults.
But, you know, saying this means that God is letting this shit happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that this is more of
why do bad things happen to good people and why do bad people flourish?
Right.
Both of those questions.
But the shitty thing is that most Christian-oriented people would be like, well, they must have brought it on themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They did something to make themselves get put in that position.
Or it's part of God's ineffable plan and it's not ours to know because he works in mysterious ways.
Right. Yeah.
So either I know the answer and it's because you suck, or I don't know the answer and it's okay.
I just never understood how... Like, it's one thing to blame parents and older people for being in the position that they're in, right? But there's kids that get born into these situations that literally have no choice,
right,
and no control over the situation they're in.
Let's take away their school lunches because that makes sense,
right?
Yeah,
but I mean,
no computer for you, poor kid.
But how can you say that that's God's plan?
Right.
God literally wants a child, an innocent person, to fail immediately upon their birth.
Or have leukemia, or, you know, any other number of ways that
And how does that teach anybody a fucking lesson? How does that teach anything to humanity?
I know the lesson I learned, but I don't think it was what God intended.
Right.
The fatherless child is snatched from the breast. The infant of the poor is seized for a debt. That's just wrong.
Yeah, it is.
Your parents suck. You're going to jail.
Or slavery.
What? Yeah. Lacking clothes, they go about naked. They carry the sheaves, but still go hungry. They crush olives among the terraces. They tread the wine presses, yet suffer thirst. Now, I've always heard that slaves enjoy being slaves, and they have fun doing work.
That's what they've said that before, yeah.
I actually heard my mom say that.
Oh,
and I about
Jesus.
shit my pants like, are you fucking kidding me?
Wow.
How could I learn that from my own parent? Like, by the time I was an adult, I knew that wasn't true.
Wait, so when you were younger, she said this?
No.
Oh, this was recent-ish.
It was, I want to say it was before they moved to Ohio. So it would have been over 20 years ago, but still, I'm in my late 40s. So we're talking about I was in my 20s.
Yeah, that's,
I knew that slavery, by definition, isn't fun.
Right, yeah.
But they enjoyed it because they were singing in the fields.
Oh, my God.
Right?
The mental acrobats you have to do to get there.
I'm like, Mom, that sounds so exciting. I think we should go sign up right now. Like, let us all be slaves. Because if it's fun.
If it's fun, we should just go do that.
And then I'm thinking about what lazy bitches she and I are. And I'm like, there's no fucking way that would be fun.
Right.
No fucking way is slavery fun. And even if you enjoy being a workaholic son of a bitch, you don't enjoy being a workaholic son of a bitch at somebody else's behest.
Right.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. This is way off topic.
Way off topic.
But just for the record, straight up, slavery is wrong.
Definitely
and it's
wrong.
not fun.
Correct.
You dum-dums.
Yes.
Okay. The groans of the dying rise from the city, and the souls of the wounded, I almost said wounded, wounded cry out for help. But God charges no one with wrongdoing because he's a dick.
Yeah. Well, but I've heard people say that if we weren't left to our own devices, we'd never grow. We'd never learn. And that and then their answer, like this was something I read recently, that as a species, we're basically at age 7 or something like that. So we've got a lot more growing to do. That's why we're still going through all this shit from God.
No, you know what? We are at age 7 because we still believe in God.
I mean, yeah, right?
I'm
right.
like, the fact is correct, but your reasoning is so wrong.
But I just can't, I cannot imagine, because if you take the Bible as law, right? Mm-hmm. Then you know for a fact that God can intervene.
Yeah.
God can change things. God can make things better. God can make things worse, right?
Well, they still say pray to move him.
If you believe in the Bible,
mm-hmm.
right? So what does it take for God to see all the injustices and just turn a blind eye to it all?
Right.
I mean, it blows me away how much you have to set aside in common sense to believe this shit.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make any sense at all.
It really doesn't. It just doesn't.
So whatever. I'm sorry. We've already went off on other shit, so I'm going to stop there.
Okay. There are those who rebel against the light, who do not know its ways or stay in its path.
Ooh,
that would
right
be
here,
me
right
and
here.
you.
Yeah,
Me and
me.
you.
Yeah.
When daylight is gone, the murderer rises up. Okay, we're not murderers.
We're not murderers, no.
And it's
Definitely
not because of a fear of God, and it's not because of a fear of punishment. We just know that murder is wrong because at the very basis level, biologically speaking, it would be stupid.
Yeah.
But also morals and ethics.
Right.
We don't want to.
Right. We have those.
We have them, and we don't want to kill people.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Right.
When daylight is gone, the murderer rises up, kills the poor and needy, and in the night steals forth like a thief.
I find that they don't really kill the poor and needy generally. They're looking for people that have shit. Generally.
Yeah.
Unless they're psychopaths.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that's just my estimation.
Right.
You know.
The eye of the adulterer watches for dusk. Ooh. You cheaty pants son of a gun.
That dusk time. That's when all the cheaters come out.
Dusk. Mm-hmm. Now, see, in my experience, they do it during the workday.
Right.
That's when your partner is busy, occupied.
Exactly.
So, they're like, haha, she's at work. She'll never find out.
Right.
And then you come home and there they are. And you're like, oh my.
Right, yeah.
The eye of the adulterer watches for dusk. He thinks, no one will see me. And he keeps his face concealed. In the dark, thieves break into houses unless you have a security camera.
Right, yeah.
And then
highly recommend.
Sets off the alarm and then they run away and hopefully get caught.
I got to say, I was actually robbed once, and it was in the middle of the day, so.
Yeah, actually, now that you say that, when my dad was in the military and we were stationed overseas, before we moved on base where we lived, there was a what's it called, like the mafia people?
Yeah,
like
the mafia.
Yeah, like where we lived.
Because you were in Italy.
Yeah, you had to pay
like the real mafia.
Yeah, you had to pay the people who like quote unquote own your street.
Right.
For them to keep it safe, which means you're paying them so they don't rob you.
Right.
Well, we had plumbing issues, so we moved to a different street, and we didn't know that was under a different rule. So
we thought you'd already paid up.
Yeah, and so our house got robbed, and it was during the day.
Right.
So that story had a long path, but it got there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thieves break in whenever they know you're not home.
Yeah.
Which is daytime.
It's usually easier in the daytime, I would say, because people aren't as suspicious during the day.
Yeah.
And generally people are at work and stuff too.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, if you're walking down the street, nobody's going to question you.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Especially if you carry a clipboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Clipboards help out.
Look official.
Definitely.
Put on a cap, carry a clipboard, and
Right.
you look good to go. You're just, what? You're a meter person. You're just trying
I'm going to check the gas thing back here.
The electricity
Right.
meter thing. Yeah. In the dark, thieves break into houses, but by day they shut themselves in. They want nothing to do with the light.
Yeah, the light's bad.
They're confusing bad guys with vampires.
You right?
Like, no, you got it wrong, guys. For all of them, midnight is their morning. See?
Yeah.
Vampires.
Right.
They make friends with the terrors of darkness.
Oh,
Are you serious? This is like a scary movie.
Right? Yeah.
Yet they are foam on the surface of the water. So is the Little Mermaid if you read the original story.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, at the end, she doesn't turn into a princess that gets to walk on land and swim in the sea.
Oh.
In the original story, she...
I know it's darker.
It's very dark. Rather than kill her boyfriend Prince guy, which she was charged to do because he married another,
right?
The witch instead turns her into sea foam, so she dies.
Oh wow!
Voiceless, footless. She doesn't get anything that she wanted. She's dead. She lives forever as sea foam.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I would like to see that made into a movie, honestly. I think that would be awesome.
America doesn't like unhappy endings, though.
Some of us do. Some of us are a little darker.
But I mean, generally speaking, we're conditioned to like those happy endings.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of women like a good movie that'll solid make them cry, like the movie Beaches.
Right.
That had a bittersweet ending. Steel Magnolias. Oh my gosh, who didn't cry at that movie, right? The Hours was about Virginia Woolf as well as the book she wrote. And both of those were just, I cried all the way through. Hard movies.
Yeah.
We like to cry.
Right.
So why don't they give us what we want?
I don't know.
Okay, anyway. They're foam on the surface of the water, just like Ariel. Their portion of the land is cursed so that no one goes to the vineyards. That's not true.
Okay.
As heat and drought snatch away the melted snow, so the grave snatches away those who have sinned. I mean, the grave snatches everybody. We all die.
That's not unique.
That's not really a snatching. That's a sickness we all endure. An inevitability like taxes. The womb forgets them. The worm feasts on them. The wicked are no longer remembered, but are broken like a tree.
I mean, to be fair, most people are not remembered.
It's true.
So.
I mean, we can't all be Shakespeare. I think I said that yesterday.
Yeah.
They prey on the barren and childless woman, and to the widow they show no kindness. They're making these people out to be the vampires that are just like so evil, and they're just like, well, I think really the biggest evil to me is the normal person who just sometimes does bad things.
Right. I mean, I think the Bible really likes these black and white, evil and good.
For 7-year-olds, you mean? Like stories for 7-year-olds because basically, we're 7.
But there is no gray area because God dictates good and evil.
That would take nuance.
Right.
And 7-year-olds can't
nuance
do
is
nuance.
Too hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
But God drags away the mighty by his power. Though they become established, they have no assurance of life. Nobody does.
Right? Yeah.
We all die.
Yeah.
He may let them rest in a feeling of security, but his eyes are on their ways. Are his eyes on their ways? I just don't feel like that's true.
Everybody dies.
Everybody dies, and sometimes kids die, which sucks.
You know
and
what?
Isn't right.
Right. And the only people that get watched are people that are doing better than other people.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those people are assholes,
How about
And
Trump?
so, you know who gets paid attention? The reason they probably think this is because people who are assholes, who are rich, when they fall, people enjoy it.
Oh, that Schadenfreude is real.
Right. So, like, you're going to think, oh, they got what they deserved, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter how old they were when they died. It doesn't matter whatever. They had that coming, right?
It's true.
That's the thought process of people's heads.
Mm-hmm.
So if they had it coming, obviously God punished them.
Right.
Right?
Right.
But everybody dies.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether you're good, bad, ugly, pretty, purple. I don't care. You fucking die.
It's true. It's true. And what's funny is the schadenfreude for me is not when they die, it's when they actually get punished for something. And I'm like, there finally is a little piece of justice. When they die, I'm not like, great punishment. I'm just like, thank goodness they're gone.
I always thought
further
that,
harm.
like, I do not like the death penalty, personally.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I don't like it is because I figure if you did something wrong and you have to spend your entire life in jail thinking about it, everybody dies, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you die earlier than you should have, you get out of that.
Yeah,
you don't have
true.
to think about that shit anymore.
That's
you don't have to
true.
deal with it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have to spend your whole life in jail because of that action that you did,
Right.
I think that's worse than dying.
But the taxpayer, they're doing it. They're being fed and clothed on the taxpayer dime.
But we also put people in jail for fucking smoking weed.
It's true.
I don't want to hear about the fucking taxpayer. It's bullshit.
It is bullshit.
And it's bullshit.
It is bullshit. Like, let's just reconfigure the system so that it doesn't suck so hard.
Right,
How
right.
about that?
Yeah.
Okay, so he lets them rest, blah, blah, blah. His eye is on them. For a little while, they are exalted. For a little while.
Yeah.
Just their entire fucking lives.
Sure, yeah.
Trump. For a little while, they are exalted, and then they are gone. They are brought low and gathered up like all others. They are cut off like heads of grain. This is such bullshit.
They should say, yeah, whatever.
If this is not so, who can prove me false and reduce my words to nothing? The end. We just did.
Oh my God, right?
We
Yeah,
just did.
I mean, yes, you. It's just you're using fancy words to describe the same thing that's going to happen to you and everybody else.
Yeah.
And you're using them very strongly to describe bad people, but the same things could be said about good people.
Right. Exactly.
Other than they're murderers and,
Yeah.
bad people.
Yeah.
But they're going to die. They're going to be forgotten. All that shit happens to good people too.
Yeah.
So it's nothing special that's happening to them.
No. It would mean a lot more if they were actually punished in life.
Right?
You know?
Yeah.
So.
No, that's what I'm saying. Life in jail,
Yeah.
Shit's much better.
Sure. Plus, I'm sorry, but even one person who is incorrectly put to death does not make up for 10 others who were actually guilty of the crime.
Right.
Like,
right.
I just don't think that's not a fair trade.
I will say this. If something happened to a loved one of mine, I would probably want that person to have the death penalty even for a lower crime.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I shouldn't be in charge
and
of,
that's not... That's not
punishing
justice, that's vengeance. And
Right.
those are not the same.
Right.
And there is a part of you that would know that, and that's why you remove yourself from the equation.
Right. Yeah. No, I definitely know that.
Because you would want to go after them on a personal level.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, definitely. I say that, and, I have known people who were assaulted as children, and I want to tear them up one side and down the other.
So I don't begrudge people that want people to die for their crimes. I understand
Sure.
that. But you have to be able to look at things on a bigger, more worldly scale.
Don't be so childish and
right.
selfish.
That's just my
honestly.
opinion.
No, I totally agree. It's
a
non-nuanced, immature view because we're only 7. And on that note,
yeah, all right. So that was Job chapter 24.
Sure as fuck was.
And tomorrow we'll be back with
Job chapter 25.
All right, we'll see you then.
Bye.
Hey wife, I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my God. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep, we have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/sacrilegiousdiscourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe, leave an Apple review, join us on Twitter, support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
Introducing Champions of Change, Shattering Ceilings in Sports, a weekly podcast that spotlights the women and non-binary people making a difference in the sports world, both on and off the field. I'm host Molly Cahalan, Adweek's senior TV reporter. In each episode, I'll be highlighting a creator, marketer, executive, coach, or athlete who is changing the game and breaking down barriers. We'll dive into their stories, advice, life lessons, and challenges with an overarching theme of equity in sports. Inspired by Adweek's coveted Most Powerful Women in Sports Awards franchise, the podcast is back for Season 3 with a fresh identity, a rebranded look, and a whole new slate of game changers. Listen and subscribe to Champions of Change wherever you get your podcasts.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.